So I see a lot of people who have tried to compare Pere and Faith in their own ways. The things I've seen and heard are quite interesting. I've seen people say things like Faith embodies Pere in a way because they are both dominating individuals. There are people who want to dominate others. There are people who want to push certain narrative that suits themselves and making the other people or the other person look really, really bad. And for the fact that they both are a medical practitioner or they're both from the medical field in a way, yeah, you could say that, they embody that kind of character. Somebody who uses their intelligence into shove it down the throat of somebody who is not that intelligent. And sometimes they come off like somebody who's a bully over the other person. But let's just critically look at the personality of both Pere and, of course, Faith. Pere has done 2 seasons. One is the Shine Your Eye season where he was all over the place, the tough guy, the guy who everybody wants to avoid because of his domineering and dominating, personality, the kind of guy who would almost always associate himself to Venita and they would oppress anybody that they see, I'm sure that so-called oppression was what gave Ilebaye the winning at the All-Stars. Remember the All-Stars? Ilebaye had not gone to the Big Brother before. That was her first time. And the All-Stars was a combination of strong personalities from the past Big Brother Niger seasons, the winners, and mixed with those who are really strong, who were the finals of the previous season, and they mixed them up with a few new kids. At the end of the day, Ilebaye wriggled her way through and swooped it all from them. And it was the thing that she sowed, the Gen Z thing that she sowed that also gave her the winning. Let's not digress. Let's focus on these two personalities. The 2 personalities that people are trying to compare. Now, during Pere's period, there was no time Pere came up like he was trying to help people or he was trying to assist people get by certain physical issues or health issues that they're facing. Pere was the kind of guy who practically belittles you. Like once he interacts with you and he sees that you are not of his standard, not of his caliber, not of his persona, he just says, you know what, he just cancels you. That's his first season. And he's a nurse. I mean, I'm sure that you're hearing that for the very first time. He's a nurse. And also served in the U.S. military for 6 years. And so you could tell that he has a mixture of both, someone who cares for people, but then again can come off strong and fighting if you dare come to him with all sorts of nonsense. In one of the situations that I came across about Pere, he was, I think, talking with Doyin. They were having an argument, and I think Doyin said certain things that he didn't like, and he was angry that Doyin was trying to fix it on him, that he was the guy who did this, who did that, and he wasn't having it. And he hit the wall with his fist, and that wall broke. Well, I wouldn't say it's a wall now, because if it's a wall with bricks, he would have actually got himself injured. But whatever it was, the wood broke. Like he hit his fist on the wall and on the wood, and it broke. Like it's practically broke. And I'm wondering, what if it was a human being that he hit that way? It would have been devastating. Somebody would have died if he was doing that guy hit like that. She would have died. Oh, jeez. That was the first time I saw that Pere can be really violent. He's from Delta State. He's from Warri, precisely. And of course, you know how Delta people behave. Though he may not have that, if a charisma, if a Raz charisma, Warri standard, Raz, streets kind of vibe. He doesn't have it because, he grew outside the country. But somewhere in his mind, he's the sophisticated Raz guy. So he can be violent, but he also cares. Okay, he can be violent, but many people saw him as the kind of guy who is, yes. If you talk about education, he is high up there. If you talk about someone who has hot temper, yes. Talk about somebody who is a masculine, who wants to dominate, who wants to always win, who wants to shove it down your throats that he's better than you. He is in that space. Yes, that's the kind of person that Pere is. Since he left the house, you could tell that he's done movies. He has featured in a lot of movies, and in fact, he has also even produced and directed his own movie. Yeah, his own movie, and it's a huge congratulations to him. At least he's finding some sort of solace in Nigeria, some sort of space here in Nigeria. So it's a huge congratulations to him. So let's talk about Faith in contrast. Faith, of course, if you say similarities between both of them, intelligence. They both work in the medical field, even though Pere is a nurse, qualified nurse, but Faith is a doctor. Okay, so you can't necessarily say they are the same, but the same in a way because they're all medical field. Okay, would you say Faith is violent and he has hot temper? Would you say Faith does that or have that? You can't say. You can't say Faith has hot temper and is violent compared to Pere, who has worked in an American military for 6 years. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So Faith, on his own intelligence, you can give it to him. Smartness, you can give it to him. Medical field, yes, but say he is violent, no. Given all the weeks he spent in the house, up until the 10th week, even what happened between him and Sultana, you can't really say that was a violent move. It was an altercation. It was a misunderstanding. It was a quarrel, which happened between him and Manson, which also happened between him and Imisi, which happened also between him and culture. So you can't say he is violent in that space, in that space compared to Pere. So coming to hot temper, you can't really say he's hot tempered compared to Pere. Pere is hot tempered. Pere is most likely prone to violence, but you can't say that for Faith. Faith, in the sense that the only time we saw him have a real issue that got him into a scuffle was the Sultana case, and then the Imisi's case. The Imisi case dragged about kerosene and that, and then Imisi was even the one shouting, "You the crazy, you the mad," and he was just quiet looking at her. And then the scuffle that happened between him and Sultana, the scuffle was just at the spur of the moment. It wasn't like it was planned or I hate this lady. They had just even had a conversation 2 days earlier. Remember that? They have just even had a conversation that lasted for more than an hour 2 days earlier about, how Faith decided not to speak to anyone, but Sultana actually made him started speaking in the house. And it was a beautiful moment. We thought that these guys are just going to marry after the house. All of a sudden, 2 days later, we see this. We were wondering, like, I thought you guys just made up, So it happened at the spur of the moment, and we could tell the story from today to tomorrow about what had happened between both of them. Given that there was a task in hand and they had agreed at a particular time, Faith walked throughout the night trying to fix certain things. And then the following day, they needed everybody to come at a certain time, but Faith was ready, but Sultana wasn't ready because she felt she knew the job. It had failed and everybody should wait for her. But Faith wasn't having that. And all of a sudden, that meeting happened, and then the bucket of product that they're supposed to use for it, Sultana wanted to have it, and Faith said, no, you can't have it. And the issue happened, and then they struggled. You can't really say he was violent or he was hot-tempered. You can't really say, because there was a struggle. And it almost looks as if there's a struggle between two persons. You can't say, oh, if there was a beating or there was a fight, then you can now cross that particular line. But there was a struggle of something, and the strongest person at the moment of that struggle, won the battle of the pulling of whatever it is that that may have happened between them. So Faith has a much more matured attitude to altercations than it was with Pere. Put Pere in the space of Faith in the house this season. Pere would have beaten. Pere wouldn't have struggled with her. Pere would have even beaten Sultana. Or better still, Pere would have so downgraded Sultana and spoken to her in a way that Sultana would even bother dragging that particular bucket. So, how you know that Pere can weaken somebody, what he says, how he says it, and the way he places himself and the way he carries himself. I say this with all sense of responsibility because while he was coming in the house the second time, the All-Stars, he said that he showed people the tough guy side of him in the first stint at Big Brother. But in the second season, the second time he got into that as the All-Star season, he said he was coming to show his softness, his soft side. And so it happens that he wants to show Nigerians that the Pere that they know is not the Pere people think he is. So he wanted to show them a side of him in the All-Star season that felt like, he was a much more better person, or he checked that part of him that people had actually attributed or has, almost always signed him off on. But it's really, it worked against him because he was acting, a script that wasn't him. So people had already thought or had already cancelled you based on, this is the person you are. You can't leave this personality, big ego, confident, everything up there. But coming into this house to come and start doing like, I want to be soft, it doesn't really fit him. That's not who he is. So people thought that he was coming to fake it in order to win it. And then even in that same fakeness he was trying to put of who he isn't, he also at some point bullied Ilebaye. And that was also what people now held on and say, you know what? Finally, you have now showed us who you are. You can't be soft. This is who you are right from the time. So this is it. And in one of the interviews, unofficial interviews that he had, this thing keeps ringing in my head. Like, he says some things like you cannot, like, if people who had won in the Big Brother Nigeria season, all the 10 years, if you take them and put them in Big Brother South Africa or Big Brother America or Big Brother UK, that they won't even past the first week. They won't even win it. And I'm like, okay, makes sense. Yes, you're right. But what if we also bring the winners of Big Brother America, Big Brother UK, Big Brother South Africa, and bring them and put them inside Big Brother Nigeria? Would they also survive first week? No, because I don't understand why you want to compare Big Brother America, Big Brother South Africa, Big Brother all those places to Nigeria. It's a franchise, and those franchises are actually domiciled or are actually rewired based on the culture and tradition of the country that is domiciling in the particular franchise is domiciling in. You can't have people who are Nigerians go to America and go and act the way they'll act when they're Nigerians. It's not possible. Same way you could do that for, a South African or even a Cameroonian or even a Kenyan. It's not possible. The culture is a culture. The tradition is a tradition. What the general public of the Nigerian people see watching the TV of Big Brother is not the same thing that the general public in America see when they're watching the Big Brother in America. They're two different societies. So you can't compare it. It's nowhere in the world. You can't compare both. Even if you put up a Big Brother Nigeria and Big Brother Ghana, you will still see that the culture, the tradition are different, because what the viewers see isn't what the Nigerian viewer would see versus what the Ghanaian viewer would see. So they differ from places to places, from persons to person, from individuals to individuals, from countries to countries, from tradition to tradition, from cultures to culture. So there is no reason whatsoever to compare the winners of Big Brother Nigeria and Big Brother America, Big Brother, So those are my thoughts in that regard. I don't know what you think. Maybe I might not have done so much in the comparisons, but this is just my thinking. With those who have been saying that they then tend to, when they see Faith, they tend to compare him with Pere, because Pere embodied that egoistic, masculine, dominating personality that shoves everything on your throat. I mean, Pere wasn't that competitive in the house. If you want to really look at it, Pere wasn't competitive. Faith is competitive. In fact, the most competitive housemate. Pere was all about showing people he has power, he has strength, he's ego, and all of those things, without showing it in his daily routines of winning tasks and making it fine. He made it to finals in 2 seasons, but he didn't win the most tasks, sponsored tasks, compared to Faith, who, yes, you could say once or twice he tried to, play on the psyche of housemates. Yeah, he tried to play on the psyche of housemates, but he would tell you, I would win, and still go ahead to win it. Like, he is that competitive. He came out, smoking competitive, and you give it to him for all that it's worth. So in some ways you compare them, but not necessarily in all the ways, frankly speaking. Tell me what you think. If there are other things that you want to compare him with alongside Pere, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you as always. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.